Thank you, folks. My name's John Martin. I'm fourth generation of my family to grow up on the family farm in the Two Rock Valley, northwest of Petaluma here. The main thing that I want to bring today is to talk a little bit about agriculture's responsibilities. And first and foremost, agriculture's responsibility, both on a global and local perspective, is to feed the population. We have to do that before we can do anything else. Today we have a world population of 6.9 billion people. In 2050, that is projected to grow worldwide to 9 billion. Now, in the 1940s through the 1970s, we had what was called the Green Revolution. It's where agriculture production was increased through a number of methods. Higher yielding grains, grain hybrids, synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, improved animal genetics, and also an increased knowledge of both nutrition and agronomic needs. In that time, from 1960 to 1990, a good example is in India. The price of rice was $550 per ton, and the average production was 2 tons per acre. Through improved varieties that were adapted to the local area, they were able to increase production from 2 tons per acre to 6 tons per acre. They tripled it. And the price to the consumer decreased from $550 per ton to $200 per ton. And so you have more product as well as being more affordable. And if you're doing the math, there was still a net revenue increase to the farmer of $50 per acre. And in that time, the world population grew by 4 billion people. Now, Sonoma County is a small part of that world picture, but our agriculture industry grew during that time of the Green Revolution. That growth helped create an infrastructure that we enjoy today in agriculture, both in suppliers, marketing channels, and service providers here in Sonoma County. Maybe today we're not fighting to keep a population fed. In fact, in February, the average American consumer had earned enough to buy all of their groceries for the entire year. But it was going to take that same consumer until April or May to earn enough to pay their taxes. And that's something to keep in mind. Now, today's demand from the consumer can be summed up in the word sustainability. And I think we in Sonoma County are pursuing that demand with a lot of energy. But I'm going to say that before we can have an environmentally sustainable production method, there has to be an economically sustainable approach where we support that industry through maintaining the infrastructure that supports it. Now, here in Sonoma County, we have a very unique market that much of the rest of the nation does not enjoy. We live in close proximity to a very large, affluent population. San Francisco, Marin County, the Napa Valley. There's a number of farmers throughout the Midwest, Intermountain areas that would enjoy that luxury. Now, ironically, that was the key to Petaluma area agriculture enjoying the booms that it had in the early 1900s, the 1920s, and 1940s, was to feed not necessarily the human population of San Francisco, but the horses that were their main transportation. Folks, we grew along the Petaluma River acres and acres of oat grain and oat hay that went down on barges to feed San Francisco. We were more or less the Saudi Arabia of their transportation system. So we have to realize every community, every farming area has its own unique challenges in order to have agriculture be profitable and vibrant. What works here in Sonoma County might not work in Overland, Kansas, or Spearfish, South Dakota. We have to take our strengths and put that into our production methods and our marketing methods. Even within our county, we're going to find that microclimates, soil type, water resources are going to make production methods different, even with only 15 miles in difference. Someone in the Laguna of Santa Rosa is certainly going to operate differently in the month of June than someone in Two Rock. So, as someone who grew up in a family dairy and was looking at 3 generations before me that produced poultry, and then in the 1950s converted to dairy, and then in the 1990s decided to exit the dairy milk production business, I was faced with a scenario of, what am I going to do to change with that? My choice was to move into that infrastructure and help develop an income for myself, as well as provide services to the rest of our industry. What we need to do in Sonoma County to maintain that agriculture industry and support businesses, number one is going to be the Williamson Act. If we overtax our agricultural producers, there's no reason for them to stay in agriculture with that land. We need to maintain our infrastructure, and we need incentives for land to remain in agriculture, not simply open space or parks. And we need to recognize that agriculture is a very vital part of the Sonoma County experience. Thank you.